Greetings and welcome to another Warhammer 40,000 kill team video, where today I'm going over the Chaos Cult kill team and their updated rules for the new edition of kill team. But before we get into things, please remember to like and subscribe as well as comment. Let me know what you thought of today's video. Did you find it useful? And remember, I've got a Discord you can check out for free in the episode description below, an affiliate link at Own Games and an affiliate link at Crossfire Games, and a Patreon if you want to give me some more support. But yeah, it's Sunday, so you know what's important about Sunday? It's a day of faith. So that's why today I'm reviewing the Ashes of Faith kill teams. So I'm reviewing the free kill team rules as you can find on the Warhammer community website, as well as on the kill team app. So let's see what they've done to Chaos Cult. So for the Chaos Cult kill teams, there's still infiltration and seek and destroy, which is good, unchanged. Then your fixed operative kill team. So you can have 14 operatives and one has to be your cult demagogue. You get 2 blessed blades, 9 chaos devotees, 1 iconarch and 1 mind witch. So that's all unchanged there. Note, if you do want this kill team, I believe it costs you a minimum of £95 because you have to buy the devotees, then the accursed cultist and the dark commune box. Just something to remember. For faction rules, you have accursed gifts. So accursed gifts are rules that allow friendly Chaos Cult operatives to gain when they turn into another operative type. See mutation. The first time a friendly devotee operative turns into a mutant operative during the battle, select your primary accursed gift. The first time a friendly mutant operative turns to a torment operative during the battle, select your secondary accursed gift. All friendly mutant operatives have your primary accursed gifts, and all friendly torment operatives have your primary and secondary accursed gifts. You cannot select the same accursed gift more than once per battle. So you've got deformed wings. Whenever the operative is climbing, treat the vertical distance as 2 inches, regardless of how far the operative moves. And whenever the operative is dropping, you ignore the vertical distance. Then for fleet, add 1 inches to this operative's movement stat. Continuous, improve the operative save stat by 1. Horned, whenever this operative ends its move during the charge action, you inflict 1 damage on an enemy operative within its control range, or D3 if it's a torment. Then you've got sinewed. You can ignore any changes to the operative's hit stat of its melee weapons from being injured. This operative's melee weapons have the brutal weapon rule. And then you've got barbed. Whenever this operative is fighting or retaliating, enemy operatives cannot assist, and each time you strike, also inflict 1 damage on each other enemy operative within this operative's control range, or D3 damage instead if that's a torment. So from the accursed gifts, the deformed wings is a little bit nerfed, right? Effectively used to be able to climb anything for ignoring the first 2 inches. Now it's just when you're climbing, you always count as 2 inches for climbing, which is fine, and you drop for free, which is okay. But barbed, it's lost brutal. But when you fight, I believe it doesn't work on the target, but from the sounding of it does. So every time you strike, you inflict D3 damage on the target and everyone within your control range. No, it doesn't stack with the target, but inflicting D3 damage is like going to be deadly to hordes, especially when you double fight. So I am actually a big fan, probably just fleet and then barbed, but you can change it like continuous if you expect you're going to be shot a lot and then change up there. Sinewed's been nerfed a bit. Before you just ignored all modifiers to hit, now you only ignore from being injured, but you do get brutal, which is still the same, although barbed is just so good. Then you've got mutation. During the battle, friendly Chaos Cult operatives can mutate as follows. As a strategic gambit, you can mutate a number of friendly Chaos Cult operatives based on the turning point as follows. So for turning point 1, you can mutate 2 operatives. For turning point 2, you can mutate 2 operatives. To turning point 3, you can mutate 3 operatives. And for turning point 4, you can mutate 4. And it goes up and up. So this is mainly for worlds, because on worlds, we usually go beyond turning point 4. Whenever a friendly devotee operative incapacitates an enemy operative within its control range, it can mutate. This is unchanged. Each operative cannot mutate more than once per turning point. So this is unchanged as well. Whenever a friendly operative mutates, select one of the following. If it's a devotee operative, turn it to a mutant. If it's a mutant, turn it into a torment. Max 1 torment per turning point via mutations. And then you can also choose to regain D3 plus 1 lost wounds. So what you can do this to heal stuff like your dark commune, which is very nice. You cannot have more than 5 mutants, and you cannot have more than 3 torment operatives at once. When an unfriendly operative turns into a new operative, swap miniatures, ensuring the center of the new base is as close as possible to where the center of the old miniature's base was. This can put it within control range of enemy operatives, and if the old miniature was, the new miniature must be if possible. Then the new operative type loses a number of wounds equal to the wounds lost on its preceding type. So if you had lost 1 wound and then you mutated, you would lose 1 wound on your next profile. But if you lost 6, you then lose 6 going into the next profile. It's still the same operative for any rules it's already been selected for. The operative is simply a new operative type, and we'll use that new miniature and data card rules. So what you can do when you turn into a torment, because everyone's on a 25 base, when you turn into a torment, you go into a 40 base. So you can set up so at the end of the turning point, when you mutate in the strategy phase, you can now teleport into combat, like mutate into combat. That's a common trick with this kill team. But otherwise, that's all unchanged apart from being locked into one torment per turning point. For strategy points, you have Exhalation and Pain. Friendly Chaos Cult operatives cannot be injured, and whenever an operative is shooting a friendly Chaos Cult operative that's wounded, you can reroll one of your defense dice. That's unchanged. Then you've got Fervent Onslaught. Friendly Chaos Cult operatives melee weapons have the accurate one weapon rule. That's unchanged as well. Then you've got Creatures of Nightmare. Whenever determining control of an objective marker, treat the total APL stat of enemy operatives contest as one lower if at least one of those enemy operatives within 2 inches of a friendly Chaos Cult mutant or torment operatives. Note that isn't a change to its APL stats, and so are cumulative with this. That's unchanged as well. Then you've got Sickening Aura. Whenever an enemy operative is within 2 inches of a friendly Chaos Cult mutant or torment, worsen the hits out of the enemy operatives by 1, isn't cumulative with being injured. This is unchanged. So usually the turn you commit with 1 or 2 torments, you go Sickening Aura, usually Fervent Onslaught, and then that's about it. Maybe Exhalation and Pain, but otherwise very good strategy ploys. Then you've got Firefight Ploys, Faithful Follower. Use this when a friendly Dark Commune operative is selected as a valid target for a shoot action or a fight action. Select one other friendly operative excluding Dark Commune visible and within 3 inches of it, of that Dark Commune operative to be the valid target or to be fought against. And if it's a fight action, they count as being within control range and all the other jazz. This ploy has no effect against shoot weapons with the Blast Torrent special rule. So there's Get Down, Mr. Present. It's unchanged. It used to be 2 inches. It's now 3 inches. So slightly better. Then you've got Abhorrent Mutation. Use this when a friendly Chaos Cooperative, excluding Dark Commune, is activated. Select an accursed gift for that operative to gain. This is in addition to any accursed gifts it already has. Each friendly operative cannot be selected for this ploy more than once per battle. And this operative turns into a different one. It still has that accursed gift. So you can end up with like a torment with 3 mutations, you know, so you can do some unique stuff there. Then you've got Frenzied Demise. Use this ploy when a friendly mutant or torment is incapacitated. Inflict D3 damage or D6 damage instead if that friendly operative is a torment on one enemy operative visible and within 2 inches. So it's a really good big bomb. Then you've got Unleash the Demon. Use this firefight ploy during a friendly mutant or torment's activation. During that fire action, you can perform 2 fight actions and one of them can be free. So this is unchanged as well. Usually you're using Unleash Demon all the time. And if you have enough spare CP, Frenzied Demise can be exceedingly deadly when a torment dies. For the operatives, you have the Cult Demagogue, who has 2 APL, 6-inch move, 5 up save, and 8 wounds. This is the same for all of your Dark Commune. So it's got a Diabolic Stave, which is ranged 4 taxing on 4's 3/6 range 2 stun. Then it's got a Pistol, which is 4 taxing on 4's 2/3 range 8. Then a Diabolic Stave in melee, which is 4 taxing on 4's 3/6 shock stun. So that's all pretty much unchanged. For actions, you've got Insight Slaughter for 1 action point as a support action. One other friendly Chaos Cult operative visible and within 9 inches of operative can be performed a free fight action, and you cannot do one in control range. And then you've got Insight Urgency for 1 action point. As a support, select one other friendly Chaos Cult operative visible and within 9 inches of operative. Do a free dash or a charge of 3 inches, and you cannot do this while in control range. You will note your leader has lost the ability to mutate someone, which is a big nerf. I really think that this Cult Demagogue should have gone to free APL if you're losing one of those actions. Losing the ability to mutate is a big thing. I think they could have just kept it as like you heal someone as an action. Like maybe you can use you can mutate, but you can't mutate. It's just the healing option. I think for fairety's sake, the leader should be free APL, but your leader is a lot worse now just because it can't mutate anyone. But it is good for chaining off extra charges and extra fights. Because, for example, if someone's within range, you can make them charge and then make them fight. And because it's a support action, if you use the support equipment, it's now a 12-inch bubble, which is very good. Then you've got your Blessed Blades. They're armed with Commune Blades, which are 4 taxing on 4's 4/6 lethal 5 up. They've cut them down whenever an operative performs a full back action while within control range. You can use this rule if you do inflict D3 plus 1 damage on the enemy operative before it moves. If it's within control range of 2 of these operatives, you inflict 2d3 plus 2 damage instead. Then you've got a Tuned In Purpose. Whenever this operative is activated, you can select another friendly Blessed Blade within 6 inches and activate at the same time, and you'll complete their actions in any order, action by action. So that's unchanged. Blessed Blades are still very, very good. They just walk around with power weapons that hit on 4s, but usually they go charge, fight, hit on 3s, and then fight to kill. So very good. So the other thing with Blessed Blades, they've gone up to 32mm bases. I built them on 32. A lot of people built them on 28. Technically, you'd have to go on 32s for now. So base extenders. Then you've got the Icon Arc, who has Burning Sensor, 4 attacks in on 2s, 4/4, range 5, Saturate, Torrent 2. This used to be, I think it was 6 attacks, 3/3, so it's a bit worse, but more damage. Then you've got the Pistol, 4 attacks in on 4s, 2/3, range 8. Then you've got Crude Melee Weapons, which are 3 attacks in on 4s, 2/3. It's an Icon Bearer, so it counts as being +1 APL for controlling and contesting objectives. It's not a modifier. Then you've got Ruinous Icon for 1 action point. It's a psychic action, and you select one of the following. Invigoration. It's a psychic action. Whenever a friendly Chaos Operative is within 4 inches of operative, normal and critical damage of 4 or more inflicts 1 damage less. And then you've got Deterioration as a psychic action. Whenever an enemy operative is within 4 inches of this operative, normal damage and critical damage inflicts 1 more damage on that operative. And you cannot perform this while in control range. So this is actually a bit worse. Those were separate actions. Now there's one. So you could, once per turning point, you can only either pick Invigoration or Deterioration, depending. Like if you're playing defensively, you probably do Invigoration, and then if you're pushing, you probably go Deterioration. He has been nerfed, right? Not being able to do 2 is rough, but it is what it is. Then you've got the Mind Witch, who has Infernal Gaze, which is 5 attacks in on 3, 0/0 damage, psychic, range 6, devastating 2, lethal 3-up. This used to be like increasing damage the more closer you go, with a max range of 8, minimum of 2. It's a bit worse, but now it's more consistent. Then you've got Fist, which are 3 attacks in on 5s, 1/2. It's got Heinous Deluge, 1 action point as a psychic action. Select 1 enemy operative that's a valid target for this operative. Until the end of that operative next activation, -1 APL until to their APL stats are unchanged. Then you've got Malefic Vortex for 1 action point. As a psychic action, remove your Malefic Vortex marker from the kill zone, if any. Then place your marker visible to this operative on a vantage point visible to this operative. Inflict 1 damage on each enemy operative within 2 inches of that marker. In addition, in the ready step of each strategy phase, inflict 1 damage on each operative within 2 inches of the marker again. So that's all unchanged. The only thing that's changed is just Infernal Gaze, which is now a shooting attack, and it's a bit weaker. But that's happened to all shooting, like Mortal Wound psychic actions. They've become shooting attacks. So that's fine. For your Devotee, as 2 APL, 6-inch move, 5-up save, 7 wounds. As a Pistol, which is 4 attacks in on 4s, 2/3, range 8. And Crude Melee Weapons, which are 4 attacks in on 4s, 2/3. As group activation, so when you activate a Devotee, you activate another Devotee, so a maximum of 2 at a time. They're on 25mm bases, they're fine. Then you've got your Cult Mutant, who has the same profile but with Blasphemous appendages. 4 attacks in on 4s, 3/4, ceaseless rending, so that's unchanged. It used to be, well, it's been downgraded before. Then you've got Accursed Mutant. This operative cannot perform unique actions. You must spend 1 action point for this operative to perform the 1 additional action point, to perform the pickup marker or mission action excluding Operate Hatch. So this is unchanged, although now it can open doors for 1 action point. And then Unnatural Regeneration. Whenever an attack dice inflicts damage of 3 or more on this operative, on a 5-up, you -1 damage. That's a mechanical change, so they're a bit weaker in terms of durability. Then you've got the Chaos Torment, who has a 2 APL, a 6-inch move, a 5-up save, and only 13 wounds. You've got Hideous Mutations, 5 attacks in on 4s, 4/5, ceaseless rending. That's unchanged. Used to be relentless, but it's now ceaseless. Accursed Torment. This operative cannot perform the pickup marker or mission actions excluding Operate Hatches. And it's a Brute. When you're selecting this as a valid target, if this operative has a Conceal Order, it cannot use light terrain to keep itself safe, but it can still reuse light cover for cover. Unnatural Regeneration is the same as the Devotee. So the Chaos Torment's been nerfed, right? When they limited the Torment, because it's a 40mm base, when they limited to once per turning point, I assumed they were going to increase its wounds like they did with the Nightmare Hulks. They did not do this. A Chaos Torment capped at 13 wounds with a worse damage negation, because before it had a 5-up feel no pain, is very trash, right? There's no defending that. These guys should be 17 wounds. 17 wounds, 1 per turning point. You could argue 16 wounds. I think 16 or 17 wounds, 1 per turning point. I think that's fine, because then in turning point 2, you have 2 of them with like 16 or 17 wounds, applying a lot of pressure on the opponent. Now, you only have 2 13 wound operatives that might reduce damage. That's not good at all. Like, your opponent's just going to blaze through them, and then turning point 3, you may have 1 torment. Like, that's very bad. I think it's not good for what they've done with Torments and the Chaos Card as a whole. Then for faction equipment, you've got Baleful Script. Once per battle as a strategic gambit, change 1 of your accursed gifts. Note that if it's an accursed gift an operative has from the Abhorrent Mutation Firepoint ploy, only that operative benefits from this. This is okay, but I think you should know what things you're picking going into the game. So I really wouldn't take Baleful Script. Then you've got Covert Geysers. After revealing this equipment option roll on D3, as a strategic gambit in the first turning point, a number of Chaos Cult devotee operatives equal to the result that you rolled, wholly within your drop zone, can perform a free reposition action, but S must end that move wholly within 3 inches of your drop zone. This it's fine. Like, it got nerfed. It used to be like you select up to 3 times. Now you're dictated by your D3, but that's okay. Then you've got Unholy Talisman. Once per turning point, when an operative is shooting a friendly Chaos Cult operative in the roll defense dice step, you can retain one of your normal successes as a crit. Take it into shooting teams for your torments, but otherwise it's not great. Then you've got Vile Blessing. Once per battle, when an attack dice inflicts normal damage on a friendly Chaos Cult operative, excluding the devotee, you can ignore that inflicted damage. If that friendly operative is a mutant or torment, you cannot roll for that unnatural regeneration roll for that attack dice, then decide to use this rule on the same dice. You must use one or the other. So I think you're always taking Vile Blessings just for a torment who's doing stuff, and it now only works on normal damage, not normal or critical damage. So equipment wise, I personally would take the Covert Geysers, Vile Blessings, and then probably 2 cracks and 2 stuns or 2 smokes. So your faction equipment is just okay. So when it comes to operative selection, you have a fixed operative list to take. So there's not much I can guide you here with. Once again, this is a very expensive kill team to buy. Usually £95 because you need the Dark Commune box, the Chaos Accursed Cultist box, and the Cultist box. So 3 different boxes. Like, I think you could probably have equal amount of fun building, kit bashing this team. Yeah, it's very expensive. It used to be very good, which kind of justified its price. Now it's expensive and trash currently, which is really bad, like, joking aside. But I think personally, like, technically that's the most efficient way. It's buying it all separately, although I think you could get away with some fancy conversions if you're willing to spend about the same or a little bit more. So for the Chaos Cult overview, I am not going to beat around the bush. This team got murdered, right? So Games Workshop for the new edition has done this thing where teams that were considered toxic have been toned down quite heavily, which is fine. Except for the next review later today. We'll get into that. I think they've been overly cruel with Chaos Cult. I actually like all the changes. The only thing I'm upset with is the mutant and the torments. I think you could probably get away with making mutants 8 wounds and then making torments 16 wounds. And then I would go, okay, yeah, no, I actually see the play here. Because, you know, then your torments, even though you're capped at one torment per turning point, you have some solid play from your torments. Now I'm like, they're still 13 wounds with a worse feel no pain damage negation. Doesn't make sense. It feels overly harsh, especially if you look at Galapox, who were in the same boat, but then their damage negation got nerfed, but then they got more wounds as a result. So I could easily see like the torment going to 16 wounds and the mutants going to 8 wounds and just being like, okay, they're a little bit more tankier. I also really would have liked a blade option as an equipment choice, considering this is the one with all the blades. So clearly they should have like 3-4 melee weapons. Like, make it 3 attacks hitting on 4s 3-4 instead of the 4 attacks hitting on 4s 2-3. So then you can have some chance. I think that would have been a better equipment choice because you're basically spending an equipment point to make your devotees more likely to kill. So I think that would have been really helpful for the kill team. Overall, it's just way too strict. I don't think this team is good. You now have to commit turning point 3 or 4, so which you can do, but it's a lot harder to as well. And I'm not really a fan of that because turning point 3 before you could have 3 torments on the field, then turning point 4 you could have 4 again. So their choices to either buff torments or remove the torment restriction of 1 per turning point. It's a very, very strange choice which they've done with this kill team. You know, I don't think you can actually make it work in its current form. I think it's just too bad. Like, maybe against other weaker teams, but at least it's just going to run through you. They're going to go like, turning point 2, you only have 1 torment, you don't have 2. Oh, well, look, this is a fun day we're going to have, right? Just murder for you all. So, and you're really susceptible to stuns. I know it's not sounding great, but you can't really be honest when a team's being gutted like this. You know, I was always obviously quite harsh on the kill team, but I think they were fine where they were at the end of last edition. So I think, as I said, if they want to keep the 1 torment per turning point, buff torments to 16 wounds, otherwise remove that. But I think I would rather have 8 wound mutants, 16 wound torments, and then give an equipment choice that gives everyone a free attack weapon that's hitting on 4s 3-4, so you have more chances to kill, especially with the accurate one. But yeah, this kill team's rough. It's not good at all. But on a more positive note, that's pretty much it for me today. Please remember to like and subscribe as well as comment. Let me know what you think of the new Chaos Cult. Do you agree with me or disagree? Is there hope at the end of the Chaos Tunnel? Remember, I've got a Discord you can check out for free in the episode description below, and a affiliate link at Element Games, and a affiliate link at Crossfire Games, and a Patreon if you want to give me some more support, and I'll quickly shout my patrons. So for my adepts of the creative zombie businessman, Tom, Supercow, Steven, Sam, Nick, Mercenary Q, Mr. B Ward, Lucas, John Thomas Graham, Fangzu, Draken, Dave Meets World, Darcy, Dad of Golden's Chris, Samja, and then, well, for my veterans of the creative, Samja, Ryan, and Mark. So thank you so much for all your support. It really means a lot to me and helps support the channel. Yeah, so I was genuinely shocked that, honestly, Chaos Cult survived. I thought they were going to get removed from the game. So they did survive by a big cost. They are not good. And, you know, I don't mind that they've hit a lot of toxic teams, but I think they've been too severe in some cases. And there are some teams who were toxic, who got buffed. I wonder what team that will be. So I think Chaos Cult do deserve some help because they're not in a good spot. Like they're borderline unplayable. It's not really fair on players who have this kind of kill team, which is really depressing. But we are where we are at. So remember, no matter how hard you're winning against Chaos Cult, there's always a chance to win even more as long as you can roll a crit.